Thanks for watching NTD Business. Coming up, President Biden is threatening to tax oil companies' extra profits. How could that affect them? The Supreme Court blocking Congress from getting former President Trump's tax returns, at least temporarily. And Elon Musk is confirmed to be Twitter's new CEO. Now it looks like he's focused on how to make money with the platform. We have that and much more coming up on NTD Business. It's great to have you with us. Paul Graney here. The Supreme Court today blocked Congress from obtaining former President Trump's tax returns, for now at least. It's just temporary. Previously, an appeals court ruled that a House panel, a panel at the House of Representatives, could gain access to the documents. But Trump yesterday asked the Supreme Court to halt the order, and it did. Democratic lawmaker Richard Neal, the chair of the panel, has been trying to get Trump's tax returns for years. He says the panel needs them because it's considering updating how audits of presidents are done. But Trump argues the true purpose is to release his tax returns to the public. He says it's obvious because the panel isn't trying to get records from any other president. Chief Justice John Roberts ordered Congressman Neal and other respondents, including the IRS, to respond to Trump by next Thursday. Keep you updated. And President Biden is taking issue with oil companies, asking them to lower their prices at the pump. And if they don't, he's threatening a tax on what he calls, quote, excessive profits. NTD's Sean Marshall has the details.
The earnings are coming in and big oil is making big money. So much money that President Biden took notice. He's accused oil companies of war profiteering, and he's proposing windfall taxes on their profits.
Oil companies' record profits today are not because they're doing something new or innovative. Their profits are a windfall of war.
Biden called on the companies to lower their prices and said if they don't, they're going to pay a high tax on their excess profits and face other restrictions. I asked energy expert Tom McNulty how the tax could affect energy companies.
I think that it just removes capital that they would use for other things. And people can argue about what that money could be used for, dividends, return of capital, also investment.
The threat of a windfall tax on the oil industry comes shortly after U.S. oil giants ExxonMobil and Chevron announced record profits. ExxonMobil posted third quarter 2022 earnings of $19.7 billion, up from second quarter earnings of $17.85 billion, and marking the highest quarterly profit in the company's history. Chevron reported earnings of $11.2 billion, up from $6.1 billion in the third quarter of 2021.
The large energy companies in this country have a tremendous technological capability and skill set to do all kinds of things in energy, not just oil and gas, but also things like carbon capture storage, hydrogen. Again, regardless of where you are on the climate debate, the skill set and the money is in the energy companies. So when you take money out of them, that's less that you can spend on either old energy or new energy.
The president, however, takes a different view.
Time of war, any company receiving historic windfall profits like this has a responsibility to act beyond their narrow self-interest of its executives and shareholders. I think they have a responsibility to act in the interest of their consumers, their community, and their country.
In other parts of the world, BP has more than doubled its third quarter profit from a year earlier to $8.15 billion. Saudi Arabian state oil producer Aramco beat forecasts on Tuesday by a 39% jump in third quarter net income and reported a record level of free cash flows. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
The American Petroleum Institute responded to Biden's remarks yesterday. It said that the administration should get serious about addressing the supply and demand imbalance. API said that oil companies don't set prices, global commodities markets do. And it also warned that a windfall tax on profits would decrease domestic energy production, increase reliance on foreign oil, and likely lead to higher prices too. And inflation is not just hitting home buyers and people with credit card debt. Uncle Sam himself is getting squeezed by higher borrowing costs too. The cost to finance America's growing mountain of debt is rising rapidly. At the same time, the Fed is raising interest rates to try and ease inflation. This year alone, though, the federal government spent $475 billion in interest. It's $120 billion more than last year. If things keep up this way, financial analysts worry that by 2025 or 2026, not far away, the United States may end up paying more in federal interest payments than on the country's entire defense budget. We have a big defense budget, you know that? Federal Reserve has already raised interest rates by 3 percentage points this year so far. Another jumbo-sized interest rate is widely expected on Wednesday. That's when the Fed wraps up its latest policy meeting. We'll let you know. Just a week before the midterms, the economy is first on Americans' voters' minds. Surprise, surprise. Anthony's Jessica Beatty has more on Gallup's new poll.
The most basic of kitchen table issues, the cost of groceries and gas, will influence how almost all Americans vote in the midterms. That's according to a Gallup poll released Monday. It surveyed about 1,000 Americans across the U.S. between October 3rd and October 20th. It found that 98% of respondents said the economy will be extremely important, very important, or moderately important in determining who they vote for. Republican Senator Rick Scott told ABC's This Week Sunday that concerns about inflation will help his party regain control of the Senate.
The election's going to be about inflation, and it's going to be about the border, and it's going to be about crime.
Senator Scott said he expects his party to win in Georgia and Nevada, but Pennsylvania will be the hardest. Meanwhile, former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, who's now a host on MSNBC, said Monday that inflation is a global issue. She said there's not a lot Democrats could have done to change that reality. According to political polling site 538, Republicans and Democrats now have an equal chance of winning the Senate. But recent polls by Fox News and ABC Ipsos found that voters trust Republicans to do a better job handling the economy by at least 12 percentage points. But this may not be a big deal for Democrats. While Republican voters told Gallup their top 3 issues are the economy, immigration, and crime, Democrat voters said their top 3 concerns are abortion, climate change, and gun policy. Independent voters were in between, citing the economy, abortion, and crime as their top 3. The partisan priorities confirm that turnout is key for both parties. Whoever can get more of their voters to the polls will have a better chance in the midterms because they're unlikely to sway the other side. Jessica Beatty, NTD News.